We are continuing to react to the breaking news tonight, broken by Politico.com, reporter Josh Gerstein and Alexander Ward. A remarkable development. A draft majority opinion appears to have been leaked from the United States Supreme Court. This is not something that has ever happened before, at least that we know of. The way that these things work in the United States Supreme Court, and I've never been a clerk, I only have a layman's understanding of these things, but part of this is described in Mr. Gerstein and Mr. Ward's article tonight, and part of it we just know from covering so many consequential Supreme Court decisions over time, is that there's oral arguments that happen in front of all the justices. We're familiar with those. We've heard the audio of them. Maybe you've even been lucky enough on a class trip to go to the Supreme Court and hear arguments in person. We know what those oral arguments are like, and then shortly after the oral argument happens, the way the process usually works is that the justices get together and they hold effectively preliminary votes saying, I think I'm going to go yes, I think I'm going to go no, based on whichever side is able to cobble together what they believe is going to be the majority in the case. An individual justice will be assigned, an individual justice who's a member of the majority will be assigned to write a draft majority opinion. Now, that draft majority opinion is just a draft, and it will likely change. We expect, just like in any kind of work, something that you write months before and goes through another number of iterative processes with your colleagues will change. But the draft that's been published tonight by Politico.com is dated February 10th, 2022, from Justice Alito, circulated to all of the other justices. It is described as a first draft, and it is a double-barreled shot. It is a double-barreled elimination of the right to have an abortion in the United States. It says bluntly on page 5, we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. The Casey decision was an important Supreme Court precedent that essentially strengthened and upheld the basic tenets of Roe and made it more practical in terms of the way that it was implemented in constraining states' ability to ban abortion. This doesn't just overturn Roe, it overturns both Roe and Casey. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. The Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision. One paragraph down from that, it says, quote, stare decisis, the doctrine on which Casey's controlling opinion was based, does not compel unending adherence to Roe's abuse of judicial authority. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. If, in fact, this ruling survives to see the light of day, which there's no reason to expect that it won't, at least in substance, do so, from what we understand from Mr. Gerstein's reporting tonight, this would have the effect of enacting what are so-called trigger laws in more than 24 states in the country. More than 24 Republican-controlled states would immediately ban abortion upon the publication of this ruling. It would also open up the prospect for what the Washington Post reported just today is being discussed by Republicans at the national level, which would be a nationwide strict abortion ban. Again, the Washington Post reporting just this morning that that is the priority for anti-abortion groups and Republican members of Congress now. If given the leeway to act by the United States Supreme Court, they would seek a nationwide abortion ban. We're starting to see Republicans in states around the country drop their previous taboos around this issue. They used to say if a woman was raped, well, the government wouldn't force a rape victim to bear the child of her rapist, would they? We'll have an exception for rape. They're starting to drop rape exceptions. They're starting to drop incest exceptions. They're even starting to talk about dropping exceptions to save the life of the mother. If those kinds of exceptions are dropped, which, again, Republicans are talking about in some state, I mean, that's a situation in which a woman, if there's no exception to protect the life or health of the mother, where that's a situation in which the government would be forcing a woman to give birth even if it kills her. Again, this is a surprise both in style but also in substance in terms of how blunt this is.